Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 10th. Scroll through the numbers as I do. We'll talk about some of the things that are coming up. I'm going to be out of town for Thursday and Friday. So obviously you're getting Thursday's report. Fridays probably will not have sound, but I will still run through the numbers and probably go through some of the charts. We have an interesting configuration that definitely want to pay attention to as I show you what is happening with the cyan candle, which we know is typically a buy situation. A lot of mixed numbers here as I'm scrolling through. A lot of red, which to be expected from what we saw, but there's some turns that are changing. We're seeing some more 2 and a buys, 3 and a buys, particularly from the Dow that had been a little bit weaker than the rest. So here we go to it. There it is, cyan candle. This is what has happened. Well, since this point we're at 46. We've had some small winners since then with a nice pivot up of the steel. Did not get that follow through on the green. We need to see that begin. The fact that the cyan flatline was big help, so no real activity from shorts, and that caused pop up. From our 50K that we had already had a buy signal from, had entered the 2 setups there, and it continues to move up. And we can look at the performance report. That's where it currently is. If we expand that, we can see where that current trade is. So we'll see if this one gets going anywhere. Maybe it gets as close to the 500,000 number. We'll see. No way to know ahead of time. Nice move from the red and everything, so no objections there. We did have this subtle breakout, though, of the cyan higher, and now steel has moved below it. The only advancing red has been the only thing that's been keeping up, so that needs to reverse itself pretty darn quick. Otherwise, we could get the retrace all the way back down. So, not a big deal, just one of those things that we have to pay attention to. In fact, no change there. So, cyan, though, can't ignore it. It's been extraordinarily successful. Very deep steel move right there, and just right at the mix there for the NQ. Still have red in control of that setup overall, so a little bit interesting as far as more weakness from the NQ, and then a turnaround of the YM with red above white, green above, and the pivot lower of cyan. We didn't see the steel pop up. That would be the next thing to look for, and or even a spider where the green moves above cyan would be positive as well. And what was that target for the APOC is, well, just under 17,000, so not too shabby. TLT continued its move, so we had the nice tilt up there, continuing to rise. Red's going to need to get over there. We should expect to see a meeting of the cyan and green at this particular point. Almost overbought, though. Did meet the target from there before, but now with the ABM, going to have to play it off of that. Still within the deep red of USO here on oil, and not pivoting up means, well, he didn't get any help. Early morning pivot up from that particular standpoint, the fact that it didn't dip below the red, possible that it could stabilize right at this particular point and turn around. I think we've covered all these positive extremes now. Yeah. So those have all been retraced from the last pop-up. GLD had the nice rising steel, had crossed back over and continued the slight move, and looks decent there with the cyan below red and white. You did get overbought, though, with the pop-up here, so low retests, break out to a little new high and come right back to it. Nothing special. We saw the euro had its nice little buy signal there. Not only was it a cyan, but it also gave the up target that we talked about for the report on Wednesday. So no change there. This has been holding kind of steady with that steel in the safety zone. Not too big a meltdown there. And then CLF didn't do too bad. The green pivot up held it in place. Pivot now of steel, and this has the potential to turn around pretty quick and null and void that pink dot. Held up pretty nicely right on the ABM lines there. WLT went into deep red before, no change in that. It got right to the point, but it could not break past at all, and so sure enough, it's just retested the dip below the extreme and also below the extreme again, so potential for it to take out the low right there, which is just a matter of retesting again this positive extreme from right back there that got cleared at the open of the day. Oh, again, it's like so straightforward. It's oops, I went to JCP on there. I'm not doing a whole lot. It's gentle rise of the red, keeping it afloat. We go ahead and flip to alert stocks. We will take a look at Apple, which we liked. I don't know that it did a whole lot in the day. Yeah, not a whole lot of anything there. With the steel down below, we were expecting the potential that, again, could retrace that low because of the extreme, just kind of stabilizing there, but still rising with the red, and that, so you really can't be too upset about it. Flattening out of Amazon for the steel and the slight pivot up. That happened early. It was a good buy on the 15-minute charts. Showed up very nicely. And Baidu, likewise, had the small pivot up. Still, these are likely to suffer some just erratic moves because without that turnaround pivot, still facing some pretty decent weakness. Fast turnaround from the oversold, just supported right on those ABMs. Gotta love those lines. We had talked about the potential improvement. All we needed was a little bit pivot from that extreme. Got it. Started to carry itself a little bit, but overall, it's got to see a pretty significant turnaround in that green to get some momentum. This is probably likely to just another couple of days. But the fact that we get that daily sign candle, it may happen a little bit sooner. Facebook has been under some trouble. We had the nice steel crossing the green there, but you still don't have a green pivot that, and you're still below the red line, so it's going to have to continue. So that was a pretty good counter move within what still is a sell signal. And Google, likewise, counter move within the sell from the extreme, so it's just hovering right around the ABMs. Another breakdown though below that green, and I think that should follow through to the downside. So again, this is where some of these are in kind of a precarious spot, not one where I'd be jumping hard onto alongside options until I see a turnaround in these readings here, because they're still pretty fragile as it is, and they're more negative than positive on most of them. PCLN had a pretty decent day from dip right down there to the green again on the ABM and pop back up just a little bit. Still not that horrible. You're in the safety zone with the steel now. Green's about to move above red. So, well, it actually did, negative 259 over 299, so it already is above it. So that should sustain it. A nice pivot from the extreme histogram. Tesla had been suffering for quite a while, and we saw the first potential turn when it crossed above the steel with the green, and then now once it opened up, it pivoted higher with the green as well as steel continuing. So modest improvement. That's going to have to get the green above pretty quick. So I'd be looking to see that extreme histogram continues to rise. Otherwise, it's going to be problematic. And Twitter, no, it's not going to hold. So unfortunately for Twitter on that one, not a good setup. There you have the basics of it. So, like I said, I will have the report out for Friday, and you probably won't have sound because I won't be able to do audio from it from the meetings that I'm going to be at. So, you won't find me on private Twitter feed or even on Skype chat or anything else. But I will definitely have the report set for Monday. Probably won't happen until sometime on Sunday. So, as always, continue to trade well and continue to prosper from that 50K signal. Was beautiful, and we'll see if we get a nice continuation off that cyan finish as well. Talk again next week.